Sorry about that. I was about to search for my headphones, but I can't really find them, so I had to use other ones for now. But that's okay. Um, hopefully everyone's doing good. Hopefully everyone's doing fine. Anyways, let's get the show on the road. I'm doing good. Not much going on. About to chill. We're gonna chill tonight. We're gonna stream. It's gonna be chill night. I was gonna stream today, because of Minecraft. I pushed that back to tomorrow. I'm just hold on. Okay, sorry about that. All right, I was wondering why this was having problems. Anyways, like I was saying, I was gonna stream Echoes of Minecraft tonight, but I'm just like more or less just in a mood where I just want to chill. I'm a little tired at the same time. So today we're gonna be reacting to some videos, all that kind of stuff. The whole shebang. Again, hopefully everyone's doing good. Hopefully everyone's doing a good night. Um, hopefully everyone has doing good so far. Tonight we're gonna finish the drawing we were working on the other night. And we're gonna probably work on something else. But for now, I wanted to react to a few videos. Because I have food with me and I want to eat. So, anyways, let's get the show on the road. I'm gonna stop the music now. New window. YouTube. All right, we're gonna start the stream. Just chill again. Like I said. We're gonna do. We'll probably stream with Superman here in a second. Do some Call of Duty. Um, what can we do? We'll do something I've been wanting to watch for a while. I gotta find it again though. What is it? Oh, 25th anniversary special movie. Okay, we'll check this out here in a second. There's also we can do. You know what we haven't done, and I want to look at stuff. No, this is not it. Where is it? Trying to find it. It's just personal shit too at the same time. I'm a little also just, you know, kind of quiet because I'm just a little lightheaded today as well. So there's not much going on. Yeah, let's keep looking. There isn't anything that I see that I want to check out. There was something. I saw earlier that it was mentioned, and I wanted to watch it. Can't even see where it's at. Dude, I can't even find it now. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, where was it, bro? Oh, this is the Fallout stuff I wanted to check out with you guys as well. And there's something else. There's some Xenoverse 3 stuff I wanted to check out. I gotta find it. There was gameplay that I wanted to watch, and I didn't even get to check it out. We already watched the gameplay closer look. We want to watch the Super Saiyan 3 transformation. Yeah, this is what I wanted to watch. I didn't even watch this before. So, we'll watch that, and then I think other than that, there's nothing else. Oh yeah, we'll watch the most critical video. Again, it's just something we can chill while I'm eating. Um, what's the one I wanna? Yeah. I'm not subscribed to her, so I don't recommend the channel, please. Not anymore. There was something else I was looking for, but I don't think I could have seen it. What I'm eating? It's seafood, uh like seafood soup. Like it's like an Honduran dish or a Hispanic slash Honduran dish. Essentially just seafood soup with seafood, or it's got crab, shrimp, all that kind of stuff. I'm eating good right now. So yeah. I'm trying to find a I'm trying to find an something that also won't give you copyrighted either at the same time, but also react to something. We can do. There's something I wanted to watch. I can't remember what it was called, bro. I can't. I remember. Legacy drops. Legendary drops. That's the guy I'm talking about. This is it. Okay, it is. The games industry is going broke. This is the one I saw from his videos. I think there was another video as well that he uploaded. I think that was his newest one. Yeah, that was his new one. The gaming industry is broke. And then there were some game trailers as well that I saw. It will go, bro. Yeah, for real. This was 3 days ago from 3 days ago. From place Marvel Entertainment and PlayStation. I wanted to watch this as well, and this was a month ago as well. I wanted to check out too. We'll check these out as well. This is Ill's official story, State of Play 2026. This was a month ago that we didn't even get to see. Uh, Other than that, that's pretty much it. There was nothing else that I saw that interests me. Oh, Black Tides. This is the one, another one I saw that I liked as well. This is a brand new game coming out. I think that was it. That was it, because everything else we've already seen. Yeah, everything else we've already seen. But I think that was it. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna start with the first one. We're gonna it's the first trailer we're gonna react to. I saw this, I was interested. I was gifted oh, so hold on, let me, hopefully you guys can hear it. Let's see if you guys can hear it. No, you can't hear it. Hold on. Let me go back. Let's go.
一つだけお願いがあります。
This
いな
is the
くなっ
new
てし
thing.
まった人たちのこと、
I'm probably gonna get copyrighted because the music is probably
時々でいい
copyrighted,
か
but
ら
I saw this. I have Final Fantasy X. I have never played this. So we're gonna go ahead and watch this.
思い出してください。
最後かもしれないだろう。だから、
Wait, if I
全部話
watch this though, isn't this spoilers? This is Final Fantasy X. Isn't this spoilers though if I watch this? I'm gonna skip on this actually. It just announces Final Fantasy X and X2 HD remaster is coming to Nintendo Switch. Okay, cool. I don't really care then. I'm not gonna spoil myself for this.
Oh, Bethesda, what a company.
I'm not gonna spoil myself. So, I'm not spoiling myself for that. This is something I wanted to watch earlier. I'm gonna lower the music just because there's no point when it comes to the music. This is what I wanted to watch earlier. Final Fantasy X is a bit of a convoluted story. I figured it would be. I'm not gonna lie. I figured it would be a convoluted story. But I wanted to see this. I was watching gameplay. Oh, okay. I was watching gameplay. And I was like, I needed to see this, and I wanted to see this because look, I need to have no commentary. But look at this. The SSJ. Oh shit! Just froze on me. Look at that. Super Saiyan 3 getting completely spiked up. The fact that it looks so cool. Still, again, it's still timed, which sucks. Again, I hate the idea that transformations are still timed in this game, and it sucks that they're gonna stay timed. But I still think it's pretty cool that they gave us a bit of gameplay for this. Cause damn, I'm excited for this. I can't wait for this. Xenoverse 3? I can't wait, bro. I cannot wait. I can't wait because, like, man, I've been waiting for this game for a while. The fact that it's finally ending, it's coming. If you get bored and wanna watch Peak, let me know, gang. Watch what? What you wanna watch? What you gonna recommend? Better not be anything bad or anything that will get me copyright, hopefully. Xenoverse 3 You Win is coming out next year. But also, welcome to the stream. Welcome. Thank you for joining. We also, just to shout myself out, if you could like and share the stream, it helps the channel grow. Thank you, but I don't know how to feel about that. Anyways, but yeah, that's Super Saiyan 3. This is what I want to show quickly. Anyways, we'll go back to the one thing I wanted to watch. We're gonna watch Endymion. This is Endymion's channel. Totally you, thank you. Thank you. I'll check if you can just if you want to add me on Twitter, I have I have it in the description. You can just DM me the channel and I'll check it out. But please don't post any links on here. That's all I ask. But this is Endymion. This is Endymion's video. If you want to check him out, here's the original one. We're gonna be watching this. We're gonna watch this. There's the original video. If you want to give him a like and everything, I'm gonna give him a like already. Todd Howard finally talked about Bethesda. That's fine. Todd finally talks about Bethesda and the actual shit that's about to happen with the Fallout, and I'm finally excited to actually know what's going on. So while I'm eating, we're gonna be doing this, and then eventually down the line, we're gonna talk about work on our art we were working on the other night. Because now tonight it's not so late, I can work on it more.
I honestly used to love their games. Fallout, Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, you know the good old days. Starfield was, well, it exists all right, I'll tell you that. But recently, you probably saw how Bethesda announced a lot of stuff. But the thing about the announcement of projects and more was that it didn't sound like it came from Bethesda willingly to do it. Instead, everything said sounded more like Asha Sharma, the head of Xbox, who had like a gun to Todd Howard's back, just ready to fill him with lead unless he finally started doing what players wanted. There's a lot to get into, so firstly, as seen here, Bethesda Studios actually for the first time since, well, forever, told people what they were doing. Here, Bethesda Studios actually, for the first time since, well, forever, told people what they were doing. I'm not going to read all of it for you because it's long, but it's on screen and I'm going to paraphrase it. Basically, Bethesda says here that they are committed to making games that people love. Weirdly, they refer to their games not as games, but as worlds. Which, whenever I hear that word, I immediately think, oh god, they're talking about live service games, aren't they? Because that's how corporate people talk about games that they want you to return to. You know, do the daily quest login. You get the idea. So Bethesda referring to their games as worlds, that fills me with dread, but I'm going to hold my disdain for now. Next, they say here that Starfield will continue, which is alrighty then. I mean, I tried to beat Starfield. I got pretty far, but it was so samey in the lore
they were going to continue that game, even though most people don't really care for it.
There were no intelligent aliens like in, say, Mass Effect from what I could tell. Maybe I'm wrong and they appear at the end of the game. I don't know, but from what I played, every alien was just some weird bugger giraffe looking thing that I shot until it stopped moving, and that was pretty much about it. But anyway, Starfield will continue, but they don't say as a new game. They just mean Starfield itself with more creation mod support and more, which is mostly user push at this point anyways. Unfortunately, creations from what I can tell do disable trophies and achievements, so I haven't used any of myself when I did play the game. But when it comes to the base game of Starfield, it is, ooh, yeah, it needs work alright. But by Bethesda's release output, I should expect Starfield Definitive Edition by, let's say 2035 at the earliest. Then they say as seen here that Fallout is the future of Bethesda and they are fully committed to...
So I'm going to read this. The future of Fallout. Fallout is one of our biggest priorities today. Fallout 5 remains our long-range destination, and we have multiple Fallout projects in active development right now. Fallout 76 continues to be home to millions of players exploring Appalachia together. I don't really care about Fallout 76. Don't tell me about that. With nearly 70 free updates released to date, their journey is far from over. In fact, we have a major Fallout 76 expansion planned for next year. Raven Rock, a prequel story to Fallout 3. Why? Just give us a prequel. Just give us the remake, and you can add the prequel story to Fallout 3 for the remake. Why give us that on Fallout 76? Most people don't give a fuck about 76. Why? Why would I care about that? Fallout 4, the most award-winning game in the franchise, just celebrated its 10-year anniversary and passed over 35 million copies sold, continuing to attract a new audience every year. Okay.
Bringing new games to Fallout going forward. Probably this is the most interesting part of all of this, where Bethesda confirms here that both Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas are officially getting remasters, and they are currently being worked on as
we also want many players that want to revisit previous Fallout experience. While we're not announcing any dates tonight, we have been working on both remasters for Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. That's good, because those are the only games I'll probably buy, 3 and New Vegas, when they come out, because I don't want to play the original ones. I don't have the original. I have the original ones thanks to Epic Games, but I don't really care to download from them. But I want to get the 3 in New Vegas, and I want to play them, but I'm not going to play them in the janky state. I don't want to play them in a janky state. I would like to play them at least where they run properly on PC, and I know they don't on PC. So, Fallout 3 New Vegas, I'm going to wait for those remasters.
You speak. This is good news because obviously people want to revisit those games for a long time, myself included. Although I'm not going to hold my breath because I have to remind you all that Bethesda also remastered Oblivion last year, but that game, as Digital Foundry said here, is still broken and unfixed a year after release and then some. And currently, there are no plans from Bethesda so far to fix the problems that are already plaguing Oblivion Remastered, so while yes, the prospects of Fallout 3 or New Vegas being re-released is cool, I guess, I have to wonder if those games will also release as buggy, unfinished messes that Bethesda will also abandon before long like they already did. I mean, Fallout 3 was very buggy at release, and that's that, you know, Bethesda charm, all right, they'll try to say, but no, seriously, it's not cute anymore. Fix the game already, Todd. It's almost 20 years old. If that game re-releases that long after and it's still buggy,
well, I'll play Oblivion on my own time, but still,
send him on his way
that's crazy.
Starfield
I don't want to
itself,
stream the game
so
if it turns out the game breaks
over.
it.
They also say it's
makes me lose a
confirmed
shit
here
ton
that
of progress.
teaming up with Obsidian
So I'll deal
to
with it
make
on
a
my
new
off
Fallout
time.
game, but honestly, everything said here, like I said, it just sounds like Asha Sharma is pointing a 12 gauge to Todd Howard's spinal column, whispering in his ear, "You better tell them Obsidian and that you guys are friends." And Todd is just like, "Hey everyone, it's me, Todd. No, we didn't lose Fallout exclusivity to create because we took so long making new games, and that our new boss is threatening to fire us. No, come on, guys, we were always friends with Obsidian. Come on, we wouldn't lie to you.
I'm
would
not
we?"
surprised.
And then Todd is going to
Asher
shift you
Sharma's
to
putting
the
the bullet
side, look
behind the
deep
back.
into your eyes.
I'm not surprised that this is happening because they've gone away with so much shit. They've gone away with so much slop. That's what I was saying earlier last night. That like these AAA companies get away with so much crap that they think they can just do it without people caring, people spending the money. For example, me, look, I barely spent a dime, barely anything on Bethesda related because it's just, why would I care? Besides that Oblivion remastered game that I want to play, that I got thanks to someone who gifted to me. Thanks to thanks to one of my mods on the chat who gifted it to me again. Thank you. But still, I other than that, there's not much that interests me for Bethesda from right now because they just released nothing good. 76, I have it on for free on PlayStation, but I don't really care to play it because the one main reason is it's slop. I don't care for it. I've never cared for it.
Guys, like, please get me out of here. Asha Sharma has already shot 6 interns before breakfast. She's building a throne out of their bones. I can hear their screams, guys. Please help. And Asha Sharma will walk in and say, "Is everything fine, Todd?" He's going to stare at us like a man who just met his maker. But according to Todd, publicly, a rivalry. What rivalry with Obsidian? As IGN reported here, Todd said, "Oh, it's just fan chatter as to Bethesda and Obsidian having beef with each other." As Todd said there, we always had a great relationship with Obsidian. And on New Vegas, there's only one group that we really trust to do this, and it was awesome. For me, it was either this group or nobody. Was it, Todd? Was it really only Obsidian? Is that why for so long you refused to acknowledge that New Vegas existed in the first place because it did so well? And that it was made so quickly that people ended up loving it more than your baby Fallout 3? Is it why you spent an entire live action show of Fallout retconning and removing elements that Obsidian did with New Vegas as well? Again, at this point, I think Asha Sharma has a small bomb implanted into Todd's cranium, and if he steps out of his line even once, she's gonna press that button while she's...
The way Devion said that, that's really fucked up, but it's hella funny because it's actually true. He probably does have some shit up his rear hind end right now. He'll have to get his shit together or else he's fucked. Oh, little Howard Todd can no longer escape his demise if he doesn't get his shit straight, which is funny to watch. Just hilarious to see. These big companies are finally getting what they deserve.
Sits on her throne made of bones of interns to blow Todd's head smooth off. Here's what Todd said more of, okay? "I appreciate some of the fan chatter, but behind the scenes, there's a huge amount of mutual respect between Bethesda and Obsidian. We're always kind of wondering if we could find a way to work together in the right way, and when those things come up, I think I definitely look at the franchise all up, as you can see in the notes, everything that's kind of happening with Fallout." Todd then said this, "You sort of say, is there a way or a window or a pocket where we could do something together that really made sense? And so we're super excited about the opportunity working together." Interesting that he puts it that way, considering the fact that Obsidian has made it very abundantly clear in public how much they do not want to make another Fallout game. And before anybody says, "Well, that can't be true," well, look at this from PC Gamer in November 2025. Obsidian flat out stated they do not want to make a New Vegas 2 or a new Fallout game at all in the coming future. This comes from an interview at the Game Business where Obsidian's VP of Operations and VP of Production, which are these two guys on screen here, Marcus and Justin, they flat out admitted that no, actually, they had zero plans of making a Fallout game and want nothing to do with the franchise. As seen here from the Game Business where they interviewed Marcus and Justin from Obsidian, and remember, this was all told before Asha Sharma was officially at Xbox. So while this is being said, Phil Spencer's still running things, okay? Keep that in the back of your mind, that as Game Business admits there, a Fallout game from Obsidian would make total sense financially. As the Game Business then said here, yet what might have been good for Microsoft's bottom line wouldn't necessarily be what's best for Obsidian. The developer has a history of making sequels to other people's games, including that aforementioned Fallout title, but over the last decade, Obsidian has focused on building its own IP.
They don't want no more Fallouts. Why not? Because
that interview here,
they think they think they can make their own IPs that are going to be good. But look at fucking Outer Worlds. Look at how dog shit that one came out with. The second one, at least specifically. That one just did horribly. What are they gonna expect? What do they expect out of it? Like they think that because they own their own IPs is gonna do good. No, no, that's not it. You have to also take projects like that to boost yourself. But look at the other shit they've been releasing. It's been wokeified slop, and I hate to say that word because I hate that word. I'm not gonna lie, but it's just been modern agenda slop. It's all it is for the new games. And I'm like, I don't care for any. Like I've always said from the very beginning, and hate me all you want. If you see this out in the public and this gets shared, hate me all you want. I don't care for politics in my games. I don't care which side it is, whether it's the left or the right. I don't care. Stop policing my games. Stop telling me what I can and cannot play. I don't care for it, nor will I ever care for it. The moment you continue to police my shit, the moment I'm going to continue to be angry.
Everyone on the internet, on every game we announce, asks, when's the next Fallout New Vegas?
Yes, no normal wants modern politics in their games. Yes, I don't care for politics in general in my game. Unless you're talking about the game being political itself, that's different. But other than that, I don't care for politics in my game.
When's the next whatever? But this year, all three of the games are IPs that we've created, our history prior to Microsoft surrounded working on others' IP. And this is the joy that we get of how do we build our own IP? And we've got to the part where we have sequels to all of them. Again, right? A reminder, Marcus is saying all of these things before we all knew that Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2 would end up being massive financial failures for Obsidian. Outer Worlds, especially if you don't know, sold a meager 1 million copies at best across all platforms combined, which for a big AAA Western RPG first-person shooter game released in the fall season, no less, that is abysmal. Things change quickly, obviously, knowing what we know now, because less than a year later, Obsidian is now being forced to make a Fallout game, whether they want to or not. In full transparency, the journey around The Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed put our approach to the test quite a bit. There was a little bit of self-doubt or self-questioning of should we be chasing after these aspects of AAA.
I'm not surprised.
As we went through that journey, the lessons we learned was stay true to our roots and keep.
I'm not surprised. The awful of what was Avowed, where you can only turn right, with that Freakazoid thing, which I saw a while back, which was funny as shit. Where where it was broken and buggy, first off, and then on top of that, rule number 1 and 2 is don't piss off the fans. Exactly. And then the second thing is that they also, when their own IPs they tried making, did not work out. They went with another thing. Avowed is trying to get a sequel, but they won't work because they lost a lot of money on that. Like he just said now, like an email just said now, they've only made 1 million on Out of the Worlds, the first one. That's the first one on all platforms.
Building the games we make as opposed to chasing after others. We are always inspired by all of the RPGs that exist, but we also have our own style of RPG. Chasing after others. Oh, those words are kind of prophetic now, given the situation at Obsidian currently. So they tried to make their own IPs to a degree, and it worked, sort of. I mean, Pillars of Eternity worked well enough that Avowed, which is the same universe, also got made. The Outer Worlds did well enough for a sequel, then it flopped and sold about 20% of what the original did at release. The more I read what these Obsidian guys said, the more it tells me that this entire situation surrounding Bethesda, Obsidian, Fallout, all of it was not anyone's idea but Asha Sharma's. I mean, come on, dude, that market.
Avowed is cursed. Avowed 2 will be an automatic failure. Think if there was a Dragon Age Valguard 2. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That they did that. They added their again, they added political agenda into it. A political agenda into it. Again, I don't care for a political agenda. Never have, never will. And the fact that they did that really was like, okay, why add a message behind it? The whole point is to entertain. That's the entirety of it. Why do that? Anyways.
This guy, he then said this: when I look at Larian's RPGs or Bethesda's RPGs or CD Projekt Red's RPGs, they are compared, but they're all very different. I want a different experience when I go play Baldur's Gate than I do when I go play Cyberpunk. We've worked on Neverwinter Nights, we've worked on Fallout, so it can't help but be somewhat, are we just trying to be like that? Our goal with The Outer Worlds and Avowed is to be more clearly define what it is to be Obsidian as a standalone entity as opposed to chasing after what already exists. Unfortunately, Unfortunately for Obsidian, it didn't work out.
It
'Cause
didn't work out.
Both games flopped really badly. I don't want to sound too mean, but hey, I gotta be blunt here. These IPs are not going to keep the lights on. Fallout will. And I cannot make this up to show you just how much Obsidian did not want to make a new Fallout game. Then when Justin Bridge, the other guy that they're interviewing, flat out said this during the interview, look at this, guys.
Yeah.
We want the Outer Worlds 2 to be big. It's not that we're not ambitious. It's that we're very realistic right at the beginning of a project, making sure that we know that we can make this game. And we firmly believe that this is something that we can succeed in. That's where the conservativeness comes from. We are pretty picky about the projects and we have a diligent process about it. They actually thought the Outer Worlds 2 was going to be a smash hit when it wasn't. And I know why, because one look at the Outer Worlds 2 tells you everything. It's a game that was so clearly created during the height of the pandering era of games. You know the ones, right? Every character is very diverse. The villain, take a guess. Of course, it's a straight white man. Everything is so by the numbers that what you would expect to form a Western studio, when you think about all the things that could ruin and close these sort of people down, the Outer Worlds 2 is the epitome of all of that. Granted, at least, the Outer Worlds 2's gunplay is pretty decent, and I could easily see Obsidian taking the bones of what that game was under the hood, putting a Fallout makeover on it, and it would translate pretty well, actually. So at least to some capacity, a big chunk of the work for them is done in the gameplay department already. This next part is also prophetic in what happened, where that Justin guy would say this: we don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we have one bad project and then the studio goes away. All this ties into what do we want the game to do? What is an Obsidian game? And if we're going to make a huge bet on the Outer Worlds 2, we want to make sure we feel strongly about that from day one. And again, it sold at best 1 million copies. That failed horribly. And obviously, once the layoffs came, Obsidian was not spared either. 20% of Obsidian was laid off in the most recent Xbox layoffs. Ironically, the same percentage the Outer Worlds 2 sold compared to the first game. That's an interesting parallel. But it seems like to me, as you can see, that nobody in this situation, be it Bethesda nor Obsidian, wanted each other to be anywhere near them when it came to making games in the future. It was very evidently clear during the Phil Spencer era that Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and Starfield was a Bethesda-owned property, and that they wanted no one but Bethesda to make those games because that was their games, right? Their identity. You kind of have to think of these studios like restaurants, you know? Sure, they may have businesses beside each other on the same strip and be friendly, but deep down they know they are, to a capacity, each other's competition in the end. I mean, they have to have known that. Bethesda pretty much wants to make an Outer Worlds game about as much as Obsidian would want to do Fallout, is what it looks like to me. It's very evident that these studios wanted their own core identities retained,
but it
and
didn't
their
happen.
IP alongside it, despite Xbox owning them. And I think one of the only Xbox-owned studios that I can think of that is currently making a game that they originally didn't make prior to this, but they're working on it, is probably Fable with Playground Games, which, you know, they're known for Forza, which is very obviously not like a Fable game. So this is now the second time that I can think of off the top of my head in recent years that a company is being forced, like they're basically forcing Microsoft's umbrella to make something that they either don't want to make or aren't even known for, in Playground's case at least. As Obsidian admitted there, when they showed the Outer Worlds 2 to Xbox leadership, they were apparently blown away. That's Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and the like. All of whom we know now no longer work at Microsoft for very obvious reasons, because they were terrible at it. Because everything said there is confusing to me from a logistic standpoint. Like, what do you mean that you waited a long time to show your leadership? The game that you were making with their money and their consent, and they saw what you were doing, which was a very pandering-like game with body types and all the other things, and they were blown away. And then when you released it, nobody bought it, really. This is toxic positivity yet again, guys. Obsidian even admits, as seen here, that their goal with this was to become like Larian with Baldur's Gate 3 or From Software with the Souls games. They wanted to be revered and seen in a way like that, but it didn't work. That is crazy to me. And honestly, that's again toxic positivity and also hubris, because there's no way anyone internally looked at Outer Worlds 2 or Avowed and went, oh yeah, this is going to be the next Baldur's Gate, Dark Souls, or Elden Ring. That's peak delusion. People are absolutely not eager to play anything that Obsidian was pushing on players, because the very things they have built their studio on for years and staffed themselves to think like are from a very specific way of thinking. And that way of thinking, as we all know, has often led to many games failing and many studios falling apart, because no one at these studios allows for anyone who thinks differently than they do to work on these games in the first place, given their opinions or anything else. All I would need is 5 minutes to play play Outer Worlds 2, and I could have immediately told Obsidian everything that was wrong with their game. I should honestly become a gaming consultant. I could save these studios millions if they just let me look at what they're doing. I mean, they're not going to like me being there. Definitely a lot of devs would be angry if I did that, but come on, man. You guys are wasting money, time, and energy making things for nobody.
This is why it doesn't justify their
Obsidian
prices.
is now doing Fallout, it doesn't magically mean the game is going to be amazing. Sure, it could look like a Fallout game, have the dirt and the grime and the irradiated ghouls running around naked, but Obsidian these days is fundamentally a much different company than they were when they were making New Vegas. I said this in my other Bethesda video, but Obsidian devs have openly admitted that the DNA and people who work there have changed. Chris Avallone, for example, who helped with New Vegas famously and co-founded Obsidian before leaving after all the legal stuff, go look into it, actually compiled a list of all the people from his time at Obsidian when they made New Vegas versus who currently works at Obsidian right now. Here's the post. It's two very long lists of people that Chris goes through figuring out who is still there or not. It's a long list, I know. I'm not going to show them on screen, so I don't even think they could fit on screen, but they're too long to read version, basically. The consensus here was that Chris Avallone's final tally came to about 30% of Obsidian that's currently there is the same Obsidian that made New Vegas. That means roughly 70% are new hires that never made Fallout New Vegas, so that does not fill me with confidence here. But it also tells me with this new Fallout game, sure, Bethesda, Obsidian, and Xbox are going to try to pretend like, hey, these are the people who made New Vegas, guys, it's going to be fine. But the reality of the actual number of people there is way, way less than you actually think. Yes, New Vegas's director is still at Obsidian, I guess, but the vast majority of people who helped make it aren't there, and unfortunately, even after the layoffs, I doubt that numbers gotten any better. So what we have now is a weakened Obsidian being told to make a game the vast majority of the studio.
It's sad because, like, I don't understand why people, and it's again, it's culture. It's culture as how I see it. It swings one way, it swings another way, and we always got that kind of sense of where we're gonna swing one way, we're gonna do this, and then for a while we realize it's going swinging the other way. I just want it to go back where it was, where we were allowed to have where the pendulum was in the middle. It never swung too hard to the right, it never swung too hard to the left. It was always in the middle, or it was a steady flow, a steady pendulum. Never constantly just swinging too far left, or too far right, because both are bad. And until that pendulum goes back to normalcy, who knows? But hopefully we get decent games. Again, Bethesda is not something that interests me anymore. Maybe later down the line we'll see how their new game looks. But other than that, it does not interest me anymore.
According to Chris Avallone's list, have no experience in making in the first place. So when people say, well, it's going to be like New Vegas 2, right? Probably not. No. What you're more likely going to get is the writing in Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, but with a Fallout skin that is thrown up on top of it. And since Avowed especially was lambasted for having poor characters, a very weak story, and very bad side quests, none of this fills me with confidence at all. Again, I'm not trying to be some negative Nancy here, okay? I'm just looking logically at what's in front of me, and the numbers and the things being said are telling me this is either going to go two ways. One is Obsidian locks in, stops doing all the BS nonsense, and makes a great game. Or two, we get a very divisive Fallout game that people are going to tear apart, and frankly, I think we're going to get the latter. And I can already imagine the main villain will likely be a straight white male again, only women will disproportionately be in positions of power, and there will be a ton of diversity, like a ton, dude, and none of that would surprise me even a little bit. But to suggest that any of this is a win somehow is kind of wild to me, because it's obvious nobody wanted to do any of this in the first place. The fact that Bethesda was this vocal to the fans like this is only because of Asha Sharma. I mean, look here, right? You even have Todd Howard openly replying on r/games talking about how he wants to be more open with fans all of a sudden. Gee, that seems weirdly out of character for someone like Todd. His usual operation is to release a trailer, go silent for years, and then maybe show up again to reveal something else. Asha probably has trained snipers looking at Todd, forcing him to speak on Reddit now too. This is all because people have lost faith in Bethesda as well. They're not making the games that people want. If they did, none of this would be required of them to do.
I'm glad
they're doing it now.
You know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm not a big Xbox guy, but I'm glad Asha is doing this because she is taking studios into a new era where it looks like she is focused on games being for the gamers again, and which is good. Again, she came from AI, so who knows what's going to happen to that. I just hope not everything is implemented. AI, I know, is fundamentally implemented in most games, yes. But there's certain things I don't agree with AI, and I hope those certain things I just don't agree with are in there. Other than that, I'm okay.
As seen here, even retweeted Bethesda's post, and she right away says Todd Howard just shared the plans for Fallout, not Bethesda, not Xbox, Todd Howard specifically. Like, oh yeah, like she knows, dude. She knows that people are sick of waiting, and the radio silence version of how Bethesda has been doing things is not winning them any favors. Xbox is in a bad place, we all know this, and Bethesda has released one game since being acquired with Starfield, and beyond that, they're just adding more to Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online, both of which are games currently with nebulous futures because the layoffs decimated both the teams that made the content for those games. So let's say worst case scenario, the layoffs that happen end up decimating Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online. They cease development, what happens next? The only logical answer is a new Elder Scrolls game and Fallout mainline release too. I know Todd and many AAA want their live service games because they say it funds development, which is true to a capacity, yes. But in Bethesda's case, their games are so beloved and played so often already, even their single player titles effectively also work as live service as well. How many times have they sold Skyrim alone in new versions? I'm not saying the live service Elder Scrolls doesn't sell or do well, but the reality is that everybody wants the next Elder Scrolls to come already. It should have been here by now, but Bethesda has taken so long, there's no way these changes aren't being done to mitigate damage now. And we know that
Miss Shawarma, okay, I can say it, okay, seems to have better sense than anyone there so far. Now, if they only remove the dumb rule about exaggerated female body types. Yeah, but who knows? Like I said, she's done better for the company than anyone else has ever done.
Xbox simply cannot afford any further failures,
and that's coming big, because I used to be a PlayStation fanboy. I used to be a Sony pony, okay? That's coming big for me.
Don't blame them because as PC Gamer showed here, that Fallout Obsidian game is being led by New Vegas' game director. I can only imagine how begrudgingly Obsidian is being forced to make this game, but it has to happen. Xbox has spent not one but two whole generations behind its competitors. Microsoft's game studios under Phil Spencer were not being fostered at all. They were just being left to make anything they wanted, which has led to a lot of failures, some successes, true, but the bad is too much to outweigh the good. The writing has been on the wall for a long time as well. Look at this from 2024. Josh Sawyer, right? That's the director of New Vegas. He even said he would be open to another Fallout game even then, but he would have to be able to do it in his own way instead of how Microsoft wants to. And then during a QA session in 2024, Sawyer answered whether he would want to make another Fallout, and here's what he said. Sure, with any project, I think it has to do with what are we doing? What are the boundaries that we're working within? What am I allowed to do and not allowed to do? I think with any IP, especially one that I've worked with before, the question is, what do I want to do this time that I wasn't able to do last time? And if those constraints are really just constraining, then it's not very appealing, because who wants to work on something when the one thing they want to explore is not possible to explore? This is where he kind of drops a bombshell, but people don't really catch it. But Sawyer said more. I love the Fallout IP. I think there's still a ton of stories that can be told in there and questions that can be asked about society. But yeah, you know, any IP really is kind of like that though. You want to work with this or that. I don't know. What are we allowed to do and not allowed to do? That society thing he said there, that is a red flag that I am sensing that pattern again. I wish I wasn't, but I am. The one mentioned there, right? Society, the way that it's framed, that tells me that Sawyer may want to take an IP like Fallout and use it like a vehicle to speak about the modern deisms of today. But I'm just going to nip that in the bud right away, because here's why that couldn't work. Because Fallout, big surprise, is not the real world. It is also set in an alternative future, as we all know. Obviously, we didn't have robot butlers in our houses in the 1950s or whatever, unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we didn't. Fallout's entire setup is that the society we live in today never came to be, because how could it have manifested if nukes dropped and everybody turned into ghouls and monsters? So trying to take our society, which is objectively not representative of Fallout society and never could be, because again, social media, YouTubers, current day presidents, or anything like that would objectively not existed or had the opportunity under the rules of Fallout's universe. And that's why I'm already getting big red flags reading what Sawyer said there, because if his plan, which is clearly the plan of many Western game developers like him, is to just inject a modern day where it doesn't belong,
which doesn't make sense
regardless, which is you're going to make a game for nobody but yourselves, and it will fail. However, since this is Fallout, I wouldn't say it can fail either way, but it will at least hamper how well it could do. Absolutely. This is my problem with current day Obsidian. They're unable to let go of the world today because they feel the same way, let's say, BioWare did making Dragon Age the Veilguard, where they needed to inject everything that they believed in too. They see
don't remind me about that game
into these worlds where these concepts process would simply just not exist. Like Dragon Age Veilguard infamously having the non-binary plot point we all know about. It makes no sense within the confines of that world whatsoever. But because you injected something modern like non-binary into a fantasy world that is very clearly not our world, because we don't have horned dragon people or elves or people using magic or elven gods invading from other dimensions, it makes the injection of these shoehorned in aspects ruin the integrity of not only the game's world, but the developer's inability to create true escapism. So circling that back to Fallout, if Sawyer's plan is just, I want to make a Fallout game that reflects the political climate and state of our world today, then this game is cooked before it's even beginning. Because Fallout, again, for the millionth time, is not our world. We do not live in a post-apocalyptic state. Last time I checked, Deathclaws don't exist. Nor does a two-headed bear on the California Republic
Man,
flag.
I wish they did,
people
though. They'd
who
be
are
cool.
ghouls that can live in radiation. Well, maybe in Los Angeles, but you get the idea. The thing that annoys me the most here is that
That's
from
funny.
what I'm seeing here is that Obsidian has not learned their lesson at all. It's very evident that the events of what's gone on in the world has shaped Obsidian's games for the worse, same with BioWare and many, many others. These development studios' inability to separate from fiction is costing millions of dollars in losses, and these devs will cry online saying the industry cannot foster its future because of layoffs. But if the only games getting made are ones where we need to inject the current day climate into them where they have no business being, then the products being made are representative of a much more alarming issue, which is a pure disconnect between what players want versus what's being given to them. The Outer Worlds 2 is a great example because it is objectively the most current Obsidian game release schedule-wise, and when you look at the bones of that game, you quickly realize it too is another Obsidian game made where they clearly took their politics and their stances and funneled it into a world
Again,
that
I don't
was not
understand
better
why.
for it. This is why personally, if the only Fallout game I can get in the future is a Fallout game in name only that spits on its legacy, hates its consumer base, and is made by bitter developers who are mad that they are being forced to make something that they don't want to make in the first place, then personally, I would rather there just not be a new Fallout game at all. And the same goes with Dragon Age. I'd rather pretend that Veilguard never happened and we just ended with Inquisition instead. Because Veilguard did irreparable damage to BioWare and Dragon Age's name. The idea of a bitter and battered Obsidian that has suffered layoffs and hates their consumer base, that is angry, making a Fallout game where it will likely condense an entire section of America as people and frame them as bigots or people they hate while offering no other avenues to explore, is likely going to lead to a game that critics are going to love, but the audience is going to walk away from. Which ironically is exactly what happened with the Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed, by the way. They reviewed pretty well in the 80s, if you want to know a Metacritic, but when you look under the hood, you realize, oh yeah, okay, they got the reviews that they did, because everyone who reviewed those games agrees with what Obsidian is saying politically or socially within them. So I would not be surprised if this new Fallout game ends up being the same thing. The critics love it, like they did Veilguard, but the audience, who's removed from toxic positivity and yes-banning everything, can objectively look within and go, yeah, this is hot garbage and should not even exist, and then the same cycle continues of, you are all this word or that, no you are, blah blah blah, and the cycle begins anew. It's about forcing what they want to see in the world through the things they create. Now, if Obsidian wanted to be based, they could make a Fallout game about a mega corporation within that universe that wastes resources and ruins the lives of those around them as a big FU to Microsoft themselves, but I doubt they would do that. It
just baffles me why. I just don't understand. It's sad, but there's not much you can do. You're not the company. Even though you voted with your wallet, there's not much else you can do. If they don't want to learn from their mistakes, they don't want to learn from the mistakes. As the saying goes, for someone when you're close to you, if they don't want to help themselves, there's nothing you can do about it.
It's very likely whatever they are going to make is going to be a critique on internet culture, YouTubers, certain presidents and the like, society, as he said. But again, none of that would work in a Fallout game because objectively, those ideas never existed within that universe to begin with. But I don't think Obsidian cares about that. They just want to push what they believe, even though they tried that twice already in a single year, mind you, and failed both times very poorly at it. I doubt people like Sawyer's going to care either way. He'll likely enjoy going out with a bang and bringing down all of Obsidian and Fallout with them if it meant he could point his middle finger at the people he disagrees with politically, I guess. And eventually, probably the Fallout IP, if mismanaged by Obsidian and Bethesda, gets to a point of irredeemable levels, they will just license it out to some other company to make a game instead that isn't abysmal dog water that is designed to hate its audience in the first place. The unfortunate truth is that everything Bethesda and Obsidian have been doing lately has not, and I can't stress this enough, been resonating because of how on the Bethesda side, they're just culturally out of touch with pretty much everything and moving at a glacial pace. And then on Obsidian's side, they're too invested into trying to force their politics into everything they make that they just end up making games meant for nobody but the people who work at Obsidian. Honestly, the absolute state of Fallout, especially within the confines of what's going on here, is probably the worst of both worlds, if I gotta be real. You have people who don't want to work on this IP being forced to, and the people who want to hold on to the IP being told to let go, which is going to anger them because they feel being the exclusive makers of that IP somehow gives them legitimacy. But if neither group is willing to make things work, what we're going to be left with is Corposlot being pushed out of Xbox's nether regions because Asha Sharma wants her new Fallout game. I don't blame her, to embolden Game Pass and make people care about Xbox again. I mean, it's a bold idea at least, and we know Bethesda is just not the right developer like they used to be because we've known about the Fallout 3 remaster, by the way, since a leak in 2020. How is a game from 2009, I think, got a leak in 2020 that it's being remastered, and that remaster is still not out 6 years later? That can't be how Bethesda operates and thinks that it's healthy. I just refuse to believe it. Honestly, Bethesda is easily one of the most frustrating companies or development studios in Western gaming by far. So much potential and amazing IP under their belt, and they do nothing with it for years. And the fact, if it wasn't for one lady at Xbox pointing a Barrett 50 cal at Todd Howard's head, they wouldn't have even have been this open with any of us, and we all know it. I'm convinced if Asha didn't force Todd to get into gear, that supposed Fallout 3 remaster wouldn't be out till maybe, I don't know, 2028 at the earliest, almost 10 years after it was leaked to be in the works. That's that Bethesda magic, baby. I don't know, man. In case you haven't noticed, I don't have a lot of faith in Bethesda nor Obsidian anymore. I want to be proven wrong. I really hope I am, but the writing is so evidently on the wall for these two places and what they're prioritizing over what actually matters that I can't be bothered to believe them until I see real action. Either way, this new Fallout game especially, I have almost no hope for it. I gotta be real. It would have been better to give this new IP. I can't speak anymore. This IP to some studio outside of Xbox at least, for a fresh pair of eyes to try something new. Instead, we're probably going to get another creation engine Fallout that looks horrible, that runs badly when the game director and his fellow co-workers refuse to separate the fictional world that they are tasked with operating within from the world they see outside that apparently oppresses them so badly, when it doesn't, even because they live in America of all places, which is easily, no matter what they say, the most free nation on earth, and that cannot be understated. Can you tell that I'm annoyed? Because I am. But let me know what you think. As always, subscribe if you'd like to. If they do a new Fallout, what's the setting? Where are they going to go? I guess let me know. I would love a prequel game myself. I would want to see the Fallout world set somewhere in like the first 50 years of the nukes going down. I want to see the actual chaos and insanity that was happening cool and created in the literal fallout of the apocalypse. But if this Fallout game isn't dark and moody, but it's instead more theme parky like Bethesda 76 or the Amazon Prime show, no thanks. I'm not interested.
Well, go check out the original video again. Wonderful video by Endymion. Our next video we're gonna watch is by Legendary.
Please tell me that you guys understand where I'm coming from with this. I am sick and tired of...
We're gonna watch Legendary, but before we get this started, I'm gonna post this. Give a like to his original video. Shout out to him. Here's the original video of his. Again, go give it out. Give it a shout out. But again, as much as I enjoy the downfall of big game studios, it's sad to see. Now, we're gonna see exactly what's going on with The Games Industry is Broke by Legendary drops. Excuse me.
Please tell me that you guys understand where I'm coming from with this. I am sick and tired of the video games industry so desperately and so pathetically trying to be like Hollywood. Oh, do they want to be a part of that crowd? And everybody can see it at this point. I agree. Anybody with eyeballs can look at any AAA game in the industry and say, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. They can pretend like that's not what's happening. They can say that's not what's happening, but we can all see it. Constantly following the exact same themes, using the same casting habits, bringing in these prestigious voice casts that just so happen to be filled with Hollywood voice actors, modernizing old stories and characters so that they can fit a modern audience that everybody seemingly doesn't believe actually exists. Theater kid level writing and self-insert, setting hundreds of millions of dollars
multiple times
to be able to make these games look that much more cinematic and much more realistic. And all it's done is led to games feeling more cheap than they ever have while costing more than they ever have. And that's the conundrum. That's the problem that I'm having right now. That's the core issue here, because where did it all go wrong? How did it go so wrong? How did an industry that absolutely farmed us now lack the ability to be able to make a profitable or popular game anymore? Half of these guys are just a joke. And then it dawned on me. They are desperate for the approval of an industry that doesn't even think they exist. They're not even on their radar. Meanwhile, they're making games, they're making products for an audience that doesn't even want it. And in trying to follow
It's sad.
Hollywood's footsteps,
It's very,
they
very
haven't taken
sad.
the time to realize that the amount of time that it takes to make a game is what's making their results so much worse. So today, I want to talk about the games industry's obsession with Hollywood, how chasing a failing industry only also then leads to failure, and how in mimicking Hollywood's formula, they haven't realized that time matters more than it ever has.
Yep.
And these guys are running out. I don't think I fully understood how deep the obsession
Oh
with
gosh,
Hollywood
here we
had
go with
gotten
this game.
until I'd seen the reveal for God of War Lawfare. Now, I already had a lot of problems with what they had shown. You guys already know most of that. The painfully millennial ironic writing, the spin-off into a female lead, the cast filled with Hollywood voice actors. All of it just felt like
I don't know who the
exact
fuck
same
Jack Quaid
direction
is.
modern Hollywood has been taking their franchises for years. But the thing that got me was seeing Jack Quaid wearing this stupid PVC pipe box while doing motion capture for a fucking cube, while the chick who was playing the ribbons on a sword stood there holding a little box on a stick. And I just sat there thinking,
What?
Sword stood there for a fucking cube.
Oh my god, you're right. What the? What, dude? What? What this? What? Look how dumb this shit looks, dude. Just animate the model like it should be. They're not actors. They're anatomic objects. Oh, this makes me want to lose my. Thank you to everybody who joined in. We're reacting while I'm eating, and I'm losing my mind at this shit. Jack Quaid and apparently who is the cube, and then the short chick. I don't remember the name of it. This is their actors in motion capture. What the fuck you need motion capture for? They're inanimate objects who just talk. So just animate their movements in the game, in the engine graphics, and then you voice act over it. It's that simple. Why do you need motion capture for this? This is so stupid.
While the chick who was playing the ribbons on a sword stood there holding a little box on a stick. And I just sat
This
there
is
thinking,
baffling
why is
dumb.
this necessary? Why are these people even here? This is all just so damn wasteful. They are probably spending tens of thousands of dollars an hour on those actors, the set, the staff, and all the equipment that's surrounding them. Then I ended up finding this interview with Games Radar where the director Ariel Lawrence explained that while the box helped them properly space out their scenes,
We mocap a little bit, like we have a marker for him to be able to be directional on set. She explained, okay? Now, then what? But instead of actually translating the rig into a 3D model, it helps the team figure out the blocking or where the actor should be standing for you. Huh? It's a fucking cube. It's a cube. It's a block. Oh, this is giving me an aneurysm. It's a block. It's a cube. Calm down.
it was not actually required. Apparently, it was just a lot of
They are 100% targeted. Yes, they are. Like, this is baffling. I'm losing my mind. And IB, thank you. IB, thank you for joining. If you would like to share the stream, let it out to know people. That helps the channel grow. I'm reacting while I'm eating before we get into the drawing portion of the stream. But man, this is just this just pisses me off because I said this last night in last night's stream that AAA games just really slap, which is because they waste money because they don't know what to do with that money, and it just feels like they going on their realistic look. Yes, to me back then when I was younger, the realism was probably cool, but now I'm getting sick and tired of every little detail. It's cool to see the detailed world of what it would look like in real life, but at the same time, it's like just focus on the gameplay, make it fun for everybody, make it enjoyable, make it where you have a good experience. The fact that you just continuously just like this, I just saw this shit. This makes the game look stupid. I'm losing my mind.
fun.
Exactly how I felt after that.
And that is just so self-indulgent. None of this is necessary. They have the money to spend, so why not spend it? It gives them more time with the actors, brings them closer to the Hollywood production process, and it validates their desire to feel like they're directing a movie rather than making a video game, which that's all.
You haven't heard me say this on stream, but I'm gonna say it. Every new Sony game always feels like a fucking movie, and it gets annoying. I don't care for the AAA titles as much as I used to anymore, because it always feels like I'm watching a movie. If I want to watch a movie, I watch a movie. Let me play the fucking game. I don't care. Every cutscene, every minute, I'm like, ugh. Even playing Ragnarok nowadays, I struggle to beat it because it's cutscene after cutscene after cutscene. And I'm like, I want another story, but let me know it while gameplay is being involved.
Already a problem in and of itself. This industry is not spending all of this money because the game itself demands it or that the players need it. They're spending this money because playing Hollywood makes them feel important. And I think that
I hate this direction they've been going in. I'm sorry I'm pausing so much, chat. But I've got to yap about this. It's a yapping session. Tonight's the chill session. We're going to also be doing a drawing stream. I was drawing on something yesterday, working on Vegeta project. We're going to continue that later right now, but I'm just reacting while I'm eating. And man, this is driving me insane. Jack Quaid for a fucking cube needs to be motion captured. It's so stupid.
need to feel important comes from an insecurity that this games industry has carried for a very long time. Back in 2012, Roger Ebert published an article titled "Video Games Can Never Be Art." It was written in response to a TED Talk from Kelly Santiago, who argued that video games had already crossed the line into artistic expression. Ebert disagreed. His position was that video games cannot be art because they fundamentally have the structure of a game, which makes art impossible. Video games have goals, art does not. That was his entire point. Now, he was wrong, of course. And I mean, in my eyes, I think that video games are like the pinnacle of art, crystallizing the essence of nearly every single...
I agree. But it gets to a certain point. It gets to a point where it just becomes overly abundantly stupid.
Medium into one experience: painting, drawing, acting, music, writing, everything. Beyond that, his entire argument was judging games according to what movies could do, despite the fact that he had barely even played any games himself. The industry, and honestly anybody in their right mind, should have just rejected all of this. It was a film critic talking about an industry that he's not involved in and a medium that he has no experience with. But instead, that article had set off years of arguments, responses, lectures, all kinds of different things coming from developers and critics that were desperate to prove that video games deserve to stand beside Hollywood. But the one thing in his article that ended up being right and ended up coming true was right at the end, where he said, do they require validation? In defending gaming against parents, spouses, children, partners, coworkers, or other critics, do they want to be able to look up from the screen and explain, I am studying a great form of art? Then let them say it if it makes them happy. This guy was an asshole, but he was absolutely right. They did require validation. And the craziest part is that these guys are chasing validation from an industry that people like me have almost completely stopped caring about. I don't know about you guys, but I flat out just do not watch much of anything coming out of Hollywood anymore.
No.
The only television I watch is anime that I want to keep up with, old favorites like Battlestar Galactica, Fringe, and Supernatural, and that's about it.
Right now,
movies, man, the last time that I went to...
I agree. Right now, the only thing I've been keeping up with, honestly, when it comes to Hollywood kind of stuff, is The Rookie. It's a show that I fell in love with and I enjoy. I'd highly recommend it. But again, if you don't like your real-life shows, because again, I started with Breaking Bad. Man, Breaking Bad was peak. But still, I'm just not much of a Hollywood guy either. I stopped caring for Hollywood a long time ago after just movies just seemed less interesting. If I wanted to watch a movie, I'll watch it whenever I want to. But I don't care for like the newer releases, the new movie releases. Maybe the only apart franchise is because I've been invested in it so long. Maybe might be Five Nights at Freddy's, but other than that, there's nothing else that really interests me.
The theater was to go see the extended Lord of the Rings anniversary run. Before that, I think I saw Project Hail Mary on a whim, which was great, by the way. But you know, before that, it'd probably been...
Oh, and maybe the Backrooms. That's about it. That's the only other new ones that I've recently watched, but
8 years or more. I like campy science fiction, dude bro comedies, low substance action movies, and high fantasy where it feels like I am the target audience. But over the last decade, Hollywood has deliberately moved away from guys like me in favor of re-releasing the same properties or virtue signaling for the sake of vanity. Everything has to rewrite old narratives, criticize how things are written or cast in the past, or inject modern social politics into it. That might appeal to some people, but for me, I'm just going to tell you guys, it just does absolutely nothing for me. And video games have been following that exact same trend. They've increasingly moved away from guys like me, taking a socially safer approach to most games that
Please don't show us the kiss. I don't care for this.
Try not to offend anybody. They've softened their language, limited their gameplay, put more female leads into historically male roles.
No, don't make me watch the shit. Don't make me watch the shit, please.
Now, I think this is where some of our opinions might diverge a little bit. You guys are welcome to have your own opinions, but I think a lot of people
still mad that they killed Joel.
The natural result of changing social trends, politics, and investor influence. But I've come to realize that I don't think it's as shadowy or nefarious
Still annoyed that
as
they killed him off.
Make it sound, because I think it's a lot more intentional. Because these changes are going far beyond just the characters and tone. It's the games themselves that have changed. It's the entire
Don't make me watch the death. I swear to God, if you make me watch the death, I'm gonna freak the fuck out.
Increasingly more Hollywood coded across the board. More Hollywood actors being cast as video game characters. More video game adaptations in movies and television. The industry now has dozens of award shows that have almost nothing to do with the audience, and they're increasingly just feeling like exercises in self-congratulation. You have the Game Awards, DICE, BAFTA, the Golden Joysticks, about a dozen more on top of that. And at the same time, these studios are pushing harder into fidelity and realism. Writing has become more self-serious and dramatic rather than immersive. Gameplay is taking a back seat, and the entire industry is becoming more expensive, more disconnected from its audience, and honestly, just a lot more self-indulgent. And I want to be clear, I'm not saying that games should never be cinematic or that Hollywood actors automatically make them worse. Hell, some of the best voice actors in the industry have been Hollywood actors in some cases. Video games have borrowed from movies for decades. Metal Gear Solid, Mass Effect, Red Dead Redemption, and plenty of other games are deeply cinematic, but they still understood that they were just video games. The cinematics serve the experience. The story served the experience. Increasingly, it feels like gameplay is what developers are reluctantly building between the scenes that they actually care about. I think you can see this most clearly with their obsession with hyperrealism. Studios spending hundreds of millions of dollars scanning actors, capturing every movement, animating every facial twitch, and recreating reality down to the pores on someone's face, only for those games to look almost exactly like every other AAA game that is chasing the exact same thing. Hyperrealism has become the most expensive way possible to look like everyone else, because nearly every AAA studio is doing this now. The only real visual distinction between any of these games in this era anymore is where they're taking place in, or it's the personal politics of the studio behind them. Western developers are purposefully making women less attractive and more masculine, and Eastern developers are leaning further into beauty and aesthetics. And every step closer to reality requires more people, more specialized roles, more advanced technology, more equipment, and more time. It's why we have watched studios balloon in size to hundreds or even thousands of developers at this point. It's making the games more expensive.
Like, I've mentioned this before. I just don't understand why they just can't get that shit out of their mind, that mindset out of their heads. It's not going to work. If it's not working so far, why continue?
But it's not automatically making them more memorable or more immersive or more fun in most cases. Meanwhile, the games with the strongest art direction, many of them being indie games, can remain recognizable and distinct for decades without ever trying to recreate a real world. Notice how those games are the ones that are succeeding the most right now. When every single release needs Hollywood actors, full performance capture, photorealistic graphics, and hours of movie-quality cinematics, the industry is not just borrowing Hollywood's creative habits anymore, they're adopting Hollywood's cost structures. The difference is that Hollywood can make a movie in a year or two. Video games take 7 or 8. If you guys are wondering where some of this money has been going, why AAA games now on average cost over $300 million to make, this is why. This is where it's coming from. It's wastefulness, it's gluttony, it's self-indulgence. Well, some of that stuff is fine. I think that the act of making a game should be fun. These people should be able to enjoy it at least a little bit and have a bit of freedom when it comes to it. In a lot of cases, these guys are taking advantage of these companies. They're taking them to the bank. They're treating that check like it's blank, and they are using it to fund their fantasy of playing Hollywood. That's what's been going on with some of these guys.
And it's not supposed to be that way.
They're not even paying attention to trying to actually make a video game in some cases. Like, how do these companies not realize how much of a problem
I don't think they ever will, if I'm being honest. I really don't.
Going out talking about how it's not even necessary for them to have 3 Hollywood actors in a motion capture set that cost God knows how much. Those actors who cost
Probably millions.
cost God knows how much, doing motion capture with a team that costs God knows how
Millions again. Millions.
much, and they're doing motion capture for a cube and a ribbon.
Again, stupid.
It's so wasteful, especially for a spin-off. This isn't even a mainline title.
That's the crazy part too. It is a spin-off game, not a mainline title God of War game.
You know, recently I had read this article that was talking about how expensive games have been made over the last few years, like how much more expensive games are today. And one of the reasons that they had brought up is that the biggest difference between today and how games were made in the past is that there are so many more specialized roles than there have ever been. And that's one of the targets for a lot of the layoffs that we have seen recently. It's not a bunch of guys that are wearing a bunch of different hats that can do a bunch of different things. No, instead, something as simple as just creating a character for a game now requires you to have a creative director, and then you have to have a concept artist, and then you need
That's
a
stupid.
VFX artist and a 3D modeler, and then you need somebody to rig that model. Then you need an engineer to be able to put it in the game, and then you need a voice actor. But if that voice actor is going to be doing motion capture, now there's entirely different teams that are going to be attached to that, and you have just this ever-growing mountain of people. Go ahead and throw some consultancy agency on there for sensitivity and diversity, and the next thing that you know, well, you have this massive mountain of people that a single idea needs to go through, and all of those people are getting paid all the way down.
It's a lot of money.
All of this is not only adding to how much these games cost to make, but it's also adding into how long these games take to make. And, you know,
7, perhaps 8 years, even 9 years at certain points.
rewind the clock 15 years ago, games were only taking about
Games back then would take a minimum, if I remember. I remember when GTA 4 was announced. GTA 4 came out. I remember that when that game came out on the PlayStation 3. I remember vividly I bought it. Not brand day one, but I bought it like a few months after it released. Again, I was young at the time, but I think I'd say 2 years down the line, they announced the PS4. 2 or 3 years down the line, they announced the PS4. And GTA 5 was coming to the PS3 as well. They announced that, so people got GTA. I think it was for, yeah, GTA announced GTA 5 was for the PS3 if I remember. Let me check. I don't exactly. I don't remember if it was on PS3 or if I know I played it on. I swear I played it on PS3. I remember it was either PS3 or something like that that I played it on. PlayStation 3, yeah. I remember PlayStation 4 got announced. And then I think it was 2 years later after GTA 4 came out. 2 or 3 years later, PlayStation 4 was announced. Then on top of that announcement, GTA 5 was coming out. And GTA 5 was going to be one of those new titles that was going to be on the PS4 and the back gen compatible games. Of course, most people got GTA 5 on the PS4 when it came out, and of course, most people had it on the 3. Uh, but they weren't. I remember they weren't fully like apart from each other either. Xenoverse 3 was by far the Xenoverse, for example, Dragon Ball Xenoverse as well that I remember when I was younger. Xenoverse 1 came out. Shit, I think it was 2012, 2014, I think around there. Let me see. It was 2015. Yeah, exactly. So literally a year apart from each other. That's how, like, he come to think, game. That's a one game, by the way. And now Xenoverse 3 is taking us 10 years to finally get. Granted, we didn't know Xenoverse 2 was going to take this long to, you know, to be supported, but it came out on our PlayStation 3. Xenoverse 1 did. And then a year later, we got announced after the PS4 was already doing that era of the PS3 still. The PS4 was already coming out. It was doing good, and then a year later, I think, yeah, because it was a release of the PS3. So a year later, because I remember during that time specifically, they were still making PS3 games for that generation console because it was PS3 and PS4 together. They were doing wonderful sales. They still did not stop making PS3s. I think until, if I remember, 2017. Uh, 2017. Yeah, 2017 is when they started making the PS3s. Yep. I remember that. I remember that. But yeah, so that was 2 years before. That was 2 years that game released. Literally, and then a year later, the PS4 was out. And PS4, if I remember, released 2015 as well. I think 2015, 2013. Um, 2013 actually. So it was longer than that. So not only did that game came out during the time of PS3 still being pop, 2 years before PS3 was going to get no longer produced, and then eventually focused on PS4. It was still baffling because I remember when those games came out, they were literally a year apart from each other. Xenoverse 1 literally released, did so well, they made a second one. And then now we're getting 3, and it's been taking years. Like I said, game production, yes, has gotten longer over the years, but still, it's baffling. It's baffling to see. It's baffling to see. And let alone, I think 5 released that same year, 2013, 2015, if I remember. And then we got, and then we're finally getting 6 of this year. I was almost 13, 14 years now.
Year or two to be able to release. Now that kind of timeline is basically reserved for AA games and live service.
Exactly.
AAA, no chance. These games are going to take way too long to make. And I don't think that these guys have come to realize yet that expense is definitely killing these companies. But the thing that's really ruining them right now is time, because time waits for no one.
Yep.
It's definitely not waiting for these games. I don't know about you guys, but I have been completely locked into Pal World. I just cannot
I had a
feel
feeling.
myself.
I had
away
a
from
feeling
this
he was
game.
going to say
After
that.
watching it reach absurd levels of success twice now, I started to reflect on what makes this game different. The game is not even a live service, yet it is averaging over like 800,000 players during the week, and it's honestly insane. This is the kind of success that every AAA publisher wishes it could find. These are numbers that they try to budget their games around, only to release those games and have them fall flat on their faces. So I kept thinking about what Pal World is doing that the wider industry is not right now. And one of the biggest things that I kept coming back to is that this game only took 3 years to develop. That used to be normal. Through the 80s, 90s, and
3
early
years is
2000s,
not
a
bad.
game could take a year or less to make. As 3D graphics came into the picture, well, it got a little bit more complicated, and development roles expanded. That then grew to 2 or 3 years of production. Studios then placed more emphasis on cinematic quality, wider scopes, and larger narratives, and AAA development expanded to 4, 5, 6, 7 years at this point. Much of that additional time was not necessarily spent on making the gameplay better, but instead making it look more expensive. Now, speed isn't everything. You could make a game in a day if you wanted to. That doesn't mean that game's going to be any good, but speed does matter when it comes to relevance. Pal World burst onto the scene in 2024 after roughly a year in development, and then, while it was still fresh in people's minds and the audience was still waiting for it, the game then dropped its 1.0 full release 2 years later, and it exploded. If they waited a little bit longer, or maybe another couple of years, who knows how big that audience actually would have been. But I actually still think that game would have been fine, because I think there's another kind of relevance that matters even more, and that's cultural relevance. Pal World probably could have released at any point they wanted to, because Pokemon is seemingly immortal. It has always been near the top of the charts. It has an active global fan base that has embedded itself
Still
in
wild to
popular
me, by the
culture
way.
for decades now. Creature collecting itself is kind of a timeless concept. Pal World, by extension, is kind of a timeless concept. The same cannot be said for many of the trends that AAA games are chasing, especially the trends that they're borrowing from Hollywood. What was the last time that you watched a timeless movie that came out of Hollywood? Oppenheimer, maybe? And was there even one before that? Many
I
of
don't know.
people's favorite movies are the timeless classics, the original Star Wars trilogy, Titanic, Jurassic Park, the original Disney animated films, Lord of the Rings. They were not completely built around what was happening in the year that they were made. They were self-contained creative works with themes, characters, and worlds that could outlive the culture that was surrounding them, because they weren't about the culture that was
Yep.
surrounding them. We don't see nearly as much of that coming from Hollywood anymore because they have become obsessed with current social norms, internet discourse, and whatever the current cultural conversation is that's happening at that exact moment. The problem is that modern internet culture has now made this even worse because they pick up and abandon trends within a week or even sometimes days. Anything that's going to be built around culture today is going to have an expiration date, and that expiration date is getting shorter every single year. Now, that doesn't mean that movies and television shows can't still be successful. They absolutely can, and I think we all can see that, but they benefit from having a much faster turnaround. A movie that begins production in 2020 that releases in 2022 can still feel relatively
Yikes.
connected to the culture that produced it. But
Big
a video
yikes.
game that begins production in 2020 and releases in 2026 or 2027 can feel like it came from an entirely different planet. I think this is one of the biggest reasons that we have been seeing so many games struggling so much culturally. It's why we are seeing so much backlash.
Shut
over
up, you're back.
character
I'm
designs, how
actually gonna take
stories are written.
Bathroom break. So I will be back. You guys have fun real quick. I genuinely got it. So I'll be back. Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. I did have to go poo. uh, sorry, I had to go to the bathroom. uh, food was good, but it came back the other way. Okay, let's continue. Sorry, this is the last video we're gonna work on. We're gonna watch. Last video we're gonna watch. Oh shit, not that. Sorry. Last video we're watching, and then we're gonna go into maybe I think I want to watch one more, and then we're gonna go into the drawing. 7:41. This is probably gonna be a longer stream for tonight as well, since we're just chilling.
The overbearing
We're gonna
use
probably
of
do
divisive
maybe
social
some gaming as
politics.
well
Many
again.
of the games that have been
Who knows?
released over the last 2 years began their concept phases and development phases somewhere between 2018 and 2020, and that was a completely different cultural reality. At that time, people were much more willing to tolerate a lot of this stuff here and there. Maybe they just rolled their eyes and moved on, but the reaction usually just ended there. Today, interests, tastes, and culture have changed completely, and more importantly, people have become far more tribal and openly hostile towards anything that's associated with the other side. A few years ago, a game could replace
dumb, by
male
the
and
way.
female characters with body type A and B and gender swap a character or rewrite an old role, and most people would barely even react. Today, that exact same decision is going to get your trailer downvoted into oblivion and the game having no audience there to show up when that game actually releases. These studios are not necessarily making games for the culture that exists today. They are releasing games based on culture that they would believe that would still be here 6 or 7 years ago. This is why multiplayer
6, 7.
games
No,
have
I'm sorry. I'm
honestly
sorry.
probably been hit
I'm
the
sorry,
hardest.
chat. You can kill me.
They are
You
far
crucify
more
me. I'm sorry.
vulnerable to the changing of trends and also to trends just changing faster in the industry than they can actually develop around them. And I think this extends far beyond just politics and opinions and tastes and everything else. It's actually affecting the games themselves. Look at the endless trend chasing around battle royales, hero shooters, and extraction games, or the flood of terminally millennial Marvel dialogue. These games were approved at a time where those ideas probably made sense to a lot of people, but then they released years later when people were already tired of them. Just look at the wave of hero shooters that came out in the last 2 years. Almost all of them failed outside of Marvel Rivals, and I think a major reason for that is simply because they took too long to make. By the time that they arrived, tastes had already shifted and the audience had already moved on. Marvel Rivals only succeeded because it didn't follow every trend that the industry was chasing. At least in my eyes, I think it rejected the obsession with safe character designs and leaned way more into making their cast attractive, and that made them feel far more culturally relevant at the time because that's what people actually really wanted in that moment, while also helping it to stand apart from everything else that's coming out of AAA. And I think all of this becomes so much more worse when these companies try to do this inside of existing franchises. When you have your own
dumb.
IP, you're free to do whatever you want. You can build characters, worlds, and an audience around the culture that you're chasing, and people could decide whether they're interested. But when you take something that already existed and you reshape it to trends from 6 years ago, you're forcing ideas onto an audience that already has expectations for what that series is supposed to be. Look at what's going on with the Odyssey right now. This is
Yeah, I agree. COVID and lockdowns gave people the wrong impressions of who the gaming demographic. Very much so. Very, very much so. It made people think that because times were changing, that they were going to stay like this forever. No, tides constantly change, opinions constantly change. It's been the tide of time forever.
something that also happens in Hollywood. This is why these changes create so much backlash. This is what's really pissing off a lot of people. They are using the popularity of an older franchise to sell something designed for an audience that they assumed would exist years later. By the time that game releases, that predicted audience may have disappeared by that point, while the original audience is still sitting there wondering why everything they like has changed to attract people that never even showed up. Now, something that I find really funny, and I think a lot of you guys are probably going to agree with me on this, is that I think a lot of people in the games industry desperately wish that they were Hideo Kojima. I mean, Death Stranding has everything that I have criticized throughout this entire video. It has Hollywood actors, full performance capture, hours of cinematics, expensive production. Hell, they even have a bunch of licensed music in it, and they definitely have a director who clearly loves movies and television and sees himself
But
as
at
a
the
director.
same time, he's
Kojima
different
puts
compared to
celebrities into
everybody
the
else.
game just because he wants to meet them. He scans directors into their world as holograms.
He also
This
scans
man
feet.
is probably the most self-indulgent developer alive, but Kojima understands something that the rest of the industry fundamentally does not. All of this serves an idea that is completely his own. Death Stranding was not an old franchise that's being rewritten around whatever Hollywood is doing at the time. It was an IP that was distinct. It had its own distinct world.
I've still yet to finish the
bizarre
game again,
mechanics,
by the
and an
way.
experience that only would work inside of a video game. You spend hours walking across mountains, balancing packages, building infrastructure, and forming connections with people that you may never actually meet. The actors help bring that world to life, but the entire game is not built around just showing off those actors. These studios copy the surface level parts of Kojima. They hire the recognizable celebrities. They build out these enormous motion capture studios. They create long cinematic scenes, and they take themselves very, very seriously. But they leave out the creative risk, the mechanical experimentation, the willingness to make something that may only appeal to a very specific group of people. They want the prestige without doing the thing that earned him the prestige. And I love Death Stranding, by the way. It's one of my favorite games. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and it's definitely self-indulgent, to say the least, but at the same time, it's a game that offers an experience that you just can't find anywhere else. It does so many weird and different things. It's so distinct in its world and what it's trying to do, and none of it feels like it has anything to do with current day. Ironically, by trying to be big and cinematic and ultra Hollywood, Kojima, being the guy that he is, actually made something that was timeless and distinct, which kind of loops me back around to Power World in a way, because Power World didn't take 8 years trying to figure out what they were going to be able to make in the current culture that they were making it in. No, they took a timeless concept, iterated on it, and then released it to an audience that they knew would already be there no matter what, regardless of when those guys released that game. And that's why it's so popular. That's why it worked out for them. And that's what I think a lot of these guys have kind of just lost sight of over time. They've gotten so obsessed with Hollywood, so obsessed with trying to make
detrimental for the
games
games.
into movies, that they forget about what made games timeless. At one point in time, I wanted to make a video where I was going to talk about timeless games and like what makes games timeless in some cases, like an Ocarina of Time or a Metal Gear Solid, or Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy X, the original ones. There's a ton. There's a huge list. Super Mario Brothers, right? If you think back to all these games, all the most timeless games, not a single one of them was ever made to have anything to do with what was going on.
Currently day, yeah. Except for Call of Duty, maybe.
It was never about current culture. It was a self-contained experience that was made to be not about its culture and just about itself. And that's the one step that these guys completely miss. I don't think that, I'll be honest, like, I don't really care that these guys want to make games look more cinematic. If you want to make games look better, cool, that's fine. If you want to hire Hollywood actors, cool, that's fine. But the one thing that's crippling these guys the most is the fact that they are stuck in today.
Yep.
And they need to be thinking about tomorrow.
Yep.
And that's the thing that's really killing a lot of these games right now. They got to get out of this. Because, I mean, as somebody that is just not really a part of the whole film thing, I don't really watch a lot of movies anymore. I really don't watch a whole lot of TV. I know that I'm not alone, and I know there's a lot of other people that are like me. And if these guys continue to follow what Hollywood has been doing and following their trends, they're going to end up meeting a lot more guys like me. I'm going to tell you that right now. Anyway, I'm tired. I'm going to get ready to go I got to go to bed. Cat keeps coming and trying to tell me it's time to go to bed, so I'm going to go to bed. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys did like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, comment down below. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch. Catch me in the next one. Let me know what you guys think.
This was a good video by Legendary.
Hollywood trends inside of games. And I'll catch you guys.
I already know I am.
Stay cool. Stay righteous. Stay safe.
This was good. The other one I want to watch is this thing as well that came out from Marvel. I have not seen this. I want to see if this Marvel can still get me interested in anything from their IP right now. Again, currently I have no qualms for their IP at the moment, but we'll see. We'll see what this is about. This is the Ain't No Hero trailer. If this has got copyrighted audio, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be hella pissed.
It's all started to blur together. Every fight, every death. that's gone. There won't be anything left except rage.
Okay. Vertical stand so separately. That's hilarious. I can't wait to get my physical copy. At least I get to have a physical copy of this game. Wow, so cool. I can't wait to buy a physical copy of this game. We want a physical disc. 100% only going to buy this physical. Game looks spectacular. Well, 100% get it on a disc. The feeling of holding the game disc will be like no other. Yep. Play has limits. Right? Well, this will play great on my physical disc that I own. Buying the physical for sure. Can't wait to get my physical copy and bring it home. He can feel his physical copy slipping away. Sabertooth first was like, no one kills Logan but me. Okay, I sure can't wait to actually own this real life physical object that belongs to only myself. I can't wait to get on physical with my disc. I will be buying this on disc. I'll definitely buy on physical media. Play has nothing but limits nowadays. At least this game will actually be able to sit on the shelf. We want physical games. Wow, so cool. I can't wait to buy the physical copy. Dude, every time I had a feeling, my whole reason was to check the comments for this. They are getting round in the comments. Physical disc, physical disc, physical disc, physical disc, physical copy, media, copy, disc, sit on the shelf, etc. That's hilarious. I had a feeling they were going to do this. I'm not surprised, though. Everyone's annoyed. Everyone's pissed about the decision. 6.3 thousand dislikes. I agree. I agree. Is that all there is on here?
Rockstar, I think, is charging way too little for this game. No.
Oh, yeah, this. Okay, hold on. We'll watch it in a second. I think other than that, Attack on Titan 3 official gameplay.
So
weird to see this. I can't wait for these games to still not be on sale like they have been for the longest time. These games never go on sale, by the way. They rarely ever go less than $60. The Foundation Titan? Oh my goodness. Of course. I think other than that, that was the last thing, I think. No, yeah, Echoes of Aincrad, Unanswered Butterfly, it was 2 weeks ago. I think that's it. If there's anything else that really interests me. There's Marvel Tokon stuff right there. I don't really care for it though. We'll watch this. The black tie thing that I saw a few days ago.
They say a man's chosen when he fights for family. That he would do anything for them. Imagine a boy raised on whispers of a father he never knew. Tales of glory and terror in equal measure. A hole grows where a father should be. A wound that never closes. In most men it festers quietly, but in pirate blood, it forges a blade to carve out their destiny. If that boy discovers his father still lives, if he believes a pirate lord can be pulled back from the abyss,
Okay.
nothing in heaven nor hell will stand in his way. He's coming for me.
All this resting on the shoulders of one boy. You truly think he can survive everything that lies ahead?
He is no boy. He is the son of Blackbeard. My son. And he has a name. Edward Teach.
Oh, okay. I like this. This gives me One Piece vibes. Black Tide. The Curse of Blackbeard. Okay. A pirate game I'm finally interested in. Oh shit, don't do that to me. A pirate game I'm actually somewhat interested in. Holiday 2027 of next year. Okay, I'm not surprised it would be up by next year. That's crazy. This is the last one I want to watch. This was a month ago. I think we did watch this. Yeah, we did watch this before. Yeah, I remember. Yep. Platinum Games. Yep, I'm excited because it's a good studio behind this. Yeah, the last one I figured. I figured that was it. Yep. I'm excited for that game. I'm excited. Other than that, there was not much that I wanted to watch. Maybe this shit I'll probably watch in between breaks of drawing, but we're gonna call it here. We're gonna get to the drawing section now. Let's go ahead and get this started now. We're gonna add some music now as well while we're at it. We're gonna do we'll do this for the no, we'll do something else. We'll do
Far away in an enchanted land that's
there we go. We'll do this. We can do this.
you're back.
Okay, no, that's gonna give me trouble. We can do this, or you know what? I think the one I wanted to listen to is this one. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with this drawing. Last time we left on essentially Vegeta's hair that I have not finished. I'm gonna try to finish it now. I'm gonna connect my thing now. Um, and this will eventually go on my Twitter. You guys can check it out as well. And I'll leave a link to it here in a second. I'll leave a link to my Twitter profile. Hold on. Hold on just a second. You can find it in my description down below, but this will post. Well, this post will go to my actual Twitter account, so you can see what we were working on stream. But let's continue. We were drawing Vegeta Scouter. If I remember, if I remember what the Scouter looked like, I think it was something like this. Some things I have to erase as well while I'm at it. Okay. We're gonna go with versus 7. We're gonna go with that. Of course, the capacity is gonna stay at 65. We're gonna keep it at 3. Scouter, if I remember, I wanted it to be something like I don't remember what a scouter looked like. I think it was something like where you had the little thing like this. Hold on. Maybe we can do it like this, maybe? Maybe we can do it like this. Man, Control Z is so easy to use. Damn, I don't remember if I remember mostly what a scouter looked like. I'm not gonna lie. I'm losing like my memory here. What kind of scouter did he have? He had the newer ones, didn't he? Yeah, he had like the newer models. That's what it was. He had the newer model generations. I remember. Now I'm gonna have to erase a little bit of this. Part of the newer scatter model. A little too big in my opinion with the brush. I don't think it was like this at all. Shit, I'm losing my memory on this shit. Okay, let's try this again. Try this again. We want to have the scatter pretty much at an angle like this. And then we can have the little orb thingy that goes right here with the scatter. And then we can pretty much finish the scatter designed. All that's left in the scatter that was pretty much confirmed like this was this little... What's this? Just pretty much have to do a little bit of restarting here, right here. Again, all this is still a rough sketch. None of it is final yet. Eventually, we'll keep outlining and outlining and outlining and outlining until we make the final stuff. So far, this is just pre-sketch. Still good to add the details though during pre-sketch. This project is gonna take at least a little bit before we even get this finished. Okay, then after that, we do want to add eventually his Saiyan armor. So right now, this is just the outline. This is gonna be like the outline of his, like, the Saiyan armor. Still the outline. Hold on. Hold on just 1 second. My pen can get off the board. Sorry, welcome to everybody who joined in. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream so far. Again, we're doing a drawing stream today. We're just pretty much trying to draw Scouter Vegeta at the moment. I'm trying to find the right song to put in here. I'm trying to do something else that won't copyright me either. So, we can do. think I found the one we're gonna do. I'm gonna do this one. But this is gonna be pretty much just Scatter Vegeta's kind of style. I remember. Yeah. I kind of want to do his, since it's gonna be here. Now this is gonna be a rough sketch, but if we're doing his body right here, and we're gonna do it like this. Oh shit. If we're doing a body sketch like this, I kind of want to have like his body going like somewhere like this. See, that's gonna be pretty much his torso right here. Then you want to kind of have his arms. I don't want to too much stabilization. I want his arms going like right here, right? And then you want his upper joint connected like this, while his other joint, okay, so you're gonna have his torso right here. A little too light for my liking. Okay, and you're gonna have his arm going like pretty much his muscular joint right here for his arm going like this. And then you're gonna have it extending out this way. He's got his arms pretty much like as if he was crossing his arms, essentially, you know? So like this is his shoulder right here, this is his arms, this is his other shoulder right here. He's gonna have his arms going like this, and then his arms going like that, and then you're gonna have his arm facing this way, and then you get the idea. It's gonna be pretty much just, you know, one arm like this, one arm going like this, and then the other arm going like this. Essentially just giving us the idea that he has this like whole, you get the point. You get the point what I'm trying to do. Again, it's a rough sketch. It's not fully what I want to do yet. Or I could do this instead. I can instead go. I can always go. Hold on. Trying to undo everything is annoying. So we have his torso here. I could probably just go with the way he's facing. I could probably just get him to go like this. Look, I could probably get his shoulder to go from right here to right here, to where it's half his other torso with his big ass shoulder right here, and doing right here, and then popping up like right here, and have his pretty much like his hand doing like his thumbs up, his like thumbs up position, something like that, you know. I haven't really thought too much about it, but you get the idea. Something where it's like in a menacing pose. I'm probably gonna have him cross-fingered, like fully like fully just uh fully cross-armed, but I'm not really sure where I want to go yet. We'll figure that out later. Figure that out later. Right now, I want to get the upper head, and then we'll get the body proportions later. Today, we're mainly working on the body proportion stuff up here. The rest, we'll start working on the bottom down here. I still want to fix the hair. I still don't think the hair's good enough. Honestly, I think I like the hair. I think I like the hair. I think I like the hair more. Yeah, I think I like the hair. I kind of want to go with a little bit of a scowl as well. Nah. No, I can go probably like an agitated look. If I wanted to, maybe. Probably go with an agitated look. Nah, he would have to be angry though. I like the scowl. Kind of like the scowl look he's given. I think it's cool. I think I'm good here, honestly. Now I just don't know what I want to do with the lower body. We're gonna have to figure that out now, actually. Because then you have his like upper outfit going this way. There's armor. Don't remember what his armor looked like, how he had it positioned. Don't remember if he had like the full plate on his part of his neck, or like it was just on his chest. Yeah, so if I erase this, then the right here is when I want to start working on his undergarment shirt. Because right here would be the cutoff for him. Right here would be essentially the cutoff of like his armor. Like right here. Would essentially be beginning of his armor. So then I want to have his armor going into like the middle area. Which is like right around here. Just right around here. Underneath his chin, essentially. Right around this area. Again, still rough sketch. It's not gonna be it's not the complete thing. But if I really want to, I want to have like a shirt like right here. Hold on. Okay, and then I want to have if his outfit is pretty much just this. That's his outfit. Then he would have his shoulder pads like pretty much going this way. Because then you would have like his muscle lining. Especially you want his muscle lining to go like in a way where it's like you've got the upper body going like pretty much let the lines going like this. And then you want his is it way like this? I think in a sense we're gonna want to focus on his abdomen. Somewhere like this. Somewhere like this. Again, I'll have to fix this and I'll have to fix this later, but and if I really want him to be like fully like with his armor on, and I'll have to remember that his armor pretty much just digs up. Like this, essentially. How his armor usually gets off times. Then you're gonna have his armor coming like in a lower aspect. Because then you want it like reaching around here, his white part of his outfit. Because you still have his wife part pretty much doing this kind of exact same movement right there. Then you can have his like full-on shoulder of his actual battle armor going like this. So if you have the same way like I did just here, you have his outfit pretty much the same way like you did here. This time it's a lot closer over here. And then you have his little battle armor going like this. Pretty much going like this, then you'll have most of his battle armor designed out. Because then you could have his muscle pretty much extending like this. Like this. And then the rest of his muscle is gonna be popping out somewhat like in this position. Overshadowing this area right here. So then you can have his hand design over here. His hand design over here. And the rest of his hand is going to be in this position right here. Then you'll have his gloves going like this. He wants gloves going like this for sure. Hold on. I'm trying to readjust his muscles right here. If I want his hand pretty much just aligned with this muscle right here. Right here. Because his arm is pretty much going like this. And then I want his part of his hand pretty much going like right here. Like barely poking out. Which is his glove. Because then you'll have the other part, which is his hand. His actual underside of his hand. Going like right here. Something like this. I don't want to go like this. Hold on. Trying to use a way I'm gonna do this. Hold on. Here it is. I got it now. We wanna kind of want to do this. And then have it bend like this. Have it bend like this. So I can get this essentially. Because then I'll be able to work with the glove. If I do the glove like this, watch. I'll do his glove pretty massive, right? That's how I want to do it. And then while the other hand going like this. I kind of want to do this. Watch. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. And then we have this right here to finish it off. There we go. And that's pretty much it for that part. That's all. That's pretty much how I want to do it. Yep. That's how I want to do it. We got the Vegeta. We got the Vegeta how I want him to get. And then I could add like the little details in between. I can add the extra Saiyan arm in the back now that we can see this. Still not done. We're gonna add the Saiyan arm in the back. And then we could do little lines right here. We'll do the same with the other ones. Okay. We can add a little white pressure of this thing as well. And then we can add a little white of this one. It's also gonna get big stripes. There we go. And now we got most of Vegeta Scouter completed. Now we just need to add a little bit of one thing, and that's gonna be his, of course, his little daring part of a scowl right here. The scowl right here. The scary little scowl right here. And then I'm gonna finish his little smirk right here. Change up his smirk a little bit. Just go with this smirk. That would be a better Vegeta. Yeah, that would be a better Vegeta right there. No, I think I like the way it was. I think I like the way it was. Yeah, I like that better. And that's pretty much most of it's done now. How long have we been going on for stream now? 2 hours. I think we're gonna cut it here slowly. But yep, we've gotten pretty much what I wanted to do with Vegeta. We're almost done. This is a work in progress stream. I think what I want to focus now, if I'm being honest, I think the one thing I'm going to try to focus now on is trying to get the outline stuff. So we're going to start opacitying everything as much as I can to 40. I'm going to delete. We're going to delete that layer. We're going to delete that layer. There we go. Now it's 40. Now we can start working on the harder outlines. So now we're going to switch over to this felt pen. We're going to go for a 5 marker size. We'll add a little bit of stabilization on it. And now we're going to try to go focus on just line by line now. Damn. Nope. I don't want to lose too much of the lines either. Now we're going to focus on just the full hard lines now. Instead of going with 5, maybe we can go with a 6 to make them a little bit bolder. Nope. Nope. I fucked up again. There we go. There we go. This is just the outline stuff now I'm getting to. Like I said, it's gonna take a while before we get anything concrete for the outline stuff. And after we get to the outline, we're gonna start shading, detailing, adding even more details than what should be in here, you know? Not good enough. Nope. We go. That works perfectly. Okay, hold on. There we go. That works right. That works perfectly fine. Okay, there we go. Then I just add the little square thingy right here, like always. Shit, no, I fucked up. Add the little light outlines here. Okay, and then I think start working on the actual scatter design. Just an upper layer. We're gonna add. Damn it. Gotta stop at exactly right here. Damn, not that. There we go. There we go. We've got the scouter now. Now the scouter, we want to add a little bit of details, and we'll add them later. First, because we're gonna make the color transparent for now. We've added that. Now we want to go back down to underneath here. We're doing the stuff that would see underneath the scouter. Be the stuff for the eyes. I want to make the eyes as perfect as I possibly can for the sole fact that they I want them to look symmetrical, but at the same time not symmetrical. If you can understand what I'm saying, I want it to look asymmetrical, but not asymmetrical at the same time. It's like, because some people, I've noticed there is a tool that lets you have asymmetry in your drawings, but I don't really want to use that. I'm not the kind of person that likes using that kind of stuff. No. I want a little bit of thicker, bushy brows right there. There we go. Little exaggerated brows for Vegeta. And the eyes, I want to do less. There we go. That's better. There we go. And I want. Okay, there's that. Now I'm gonna add the other line, which is this one. Oh. There we go. I'm gonna have to call it here soon. There we go. That's better. That is eyes a little bit better in alignment. Looks a lot better whenever I do this now. Okay. So far, what y'all thinking, chat? If we go ahead and zoom it out. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna erase something. Okay, now I'm gonna start drawing again. That's better on the Vegeta's hairstyle, at least. That's what I was fucking up with the Widow's Peak. And then now I can start adding the actual hair portions. Okay. We can also add this little hair string right here. Okay. Then we do this with his hair on this side. That's a much better version of Vegeta. Okay. I think we're gonna leave it here for now. I want to at least get the outline done. Hold on. No, I gotta want to at least get the outline done. But yeah, I think doing turning out to be a pretty good job. Okay, we're gonna stop here for now, though. We're gonna probably do. I'm trying to think what we could do. It's almost 3 hours. We're gonna stop here for today. 9:06. Yeah, I'm gonna think I'm gonna call it here. 9 o'clock. I want to chill the rest of the night in game. So far, this is what we've done. We've got the most of the outline stuff done. Um, this is most of the stuff I've been working on now. All we need left is to eventually just do after we do this part is the body part, and then we're gonna work on the background after we do the um. We can work on the background stuff after we get the color and the shading and everything. I kind of want to do the Rocky Mountains from Dragon Ball Z, uh, or we could probably do maybe Planetamic or something. I'll think about what I want to do for that. I'll figure out which setting I want to put, but this is pretty much it. I think I've gotten for the most part where I need to be in sense of like how I'm gonna make this drawing a thing. And it's turning out good. I like it a lot so far. I might have to fix a little bit of the proportion size of Vegeta and for the next session. But hey, turns out so far so good, honestly. We do a little bit of a do a little bit of deleting when it comes to certain things. Start deleting certain layers will be okay. Start doing a little bit of layer deletion. But yeah, it's so far it's starting good. Um again, it's looks like most of this is still hand drawn and not like not all of it's completely linear, and I'll have to liquefy it and of course make it super linear than what it is now, but it looks good so far. Again, some things I need to fix, like some line corrections, all that kind of stuff. But that will be after we're done with the most part of the outline. But so far, so good. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. It's been really good. Do this. We will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. for some actual gameplay this time of stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna post this on Twitter. Um, I'm gonna save as this is yep. You want to replace it? This is what it's gonna be looking now, and then I'm gonna export this. Export this into a JPEG. We're gonna export this to PNG. This is a downloads field, and then we're gonna put this on Twitter now. So we're gonna switch over to me. Post on it now. Oh, I'm gonna add a little bit of a. So hold on, what I'll do? Just add a little bit of 34 is what I want to keep it at. I'm gonna add a background color. I'm gonna add a big background color just so I can quickly get this done again. Hold on. Now let's try this again. Yeah. Export single layer, PNG. Yes. Single layer, PNG. Download. Save. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now let's try this again. There we go. And then I'm gonna watch. What is it? Here. And then I'm gonna go to. Hold on. Y'all can see this, right? Okay, hold on. Go ahead and get off for now. Take it off for now. You're watching. Take it off for now. Let me take it off for now. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out something. Okay, hold on. I'm doing this live. Channel. I'm going to mute this whole page, so I'm gonna mute music for now. Okay, let's go ahead and nope, 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 not. Okay, here we go. Now we go back to Twitter. Paste. Okay. I'm gonna add. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right, that's the tweet for it, and that's it, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Okay, have a wonderful night. This was good. I'm gonna tweet this out as soon as I go offline. But anyways, y'all check it out. Y'all take care. Peace.